Engineering disaster. Deepwater Horizon. Presentation created and narrated by Savannah Jones. Introduction. Overview. April 20th, 2010. Deepwater Horizon had the largest accidental oil spill. It released 700,000 tons of crude oil. Lives were lost, being 11 workers and 16 workers severely injured due to a series of technical failures and flawed decisions. In this presentation, we will find out the causes, the engineering failures, the consequences, and the lessons learned from this disaster. The background. Rig's purpose and technology. Semi-submersible mobile offshore drilling unit drills wells into the new oil fields on the sea floor. The purpose is operated by service companies that are contracted by oil companies to carry out drilling operations. Technologies used: casings, blowout preventers, other words, BOP, electric generator, drill strings, drill collar, turntable derrick, spare pipe, engine turntable, bit, mud, and casings. The explosion and what went wrong. Technical failures: blowout preventer failure, cementing failure, failure to detect and respond to kick, the gas detection and ventilation system failure, and rig power and emergency systems vulnerabilities. Sequence of events leading to the explosion. Blowout preventer failure. From the shear ram failure, the hydraulic leak, dead battery in the control pad, design flaws and lack of redundancy, delayed activation. Following with cementing failure, unstable cement design, use of nitrogen foamed cement, inadequate cementing test, no cement bind log, insufficient centralizers, failure to detect gas flow, and the last but not least, the human error and the poor decision making, all caused by misinterpreted pressure test, used flawed cement, and ignored all the red flags they were given, choosing fewer centralizers than recommended, and premature displacement of drilling mud. Impact of the explosion. Impact of the explosion caused environmental consequences: widespread marine pollution, oil spread 68,000 square miles into the ocean, massive wildlife deaths and injuries, including marine mammals, birds, sea turtles, fish, and invertebrates, toxicity from the dispersants. There were over 2 million gallons of chemical dispersants that went into the ocean. Habitat destruction was involved, deep sea ecosystem damage, impact on fishing and coastal economies. Alabama and Louisiana struggled due to the contamination of their fish. A lot of mom and pop shops had to shut down. There was long-term environmental monitoring. The impacts were not just environmental. There were lives lost. As you can see in the image to the right, these were the 11 men who did not get to make it home to their families. When the rig exploded, 16 workers trying to escape were severely injured. These workers were jumping off a rig that was just about 40 stories from the sea surface. There was also the impact of the financial damage. BP got the hit with financial liability due to it being their rig. The US government got involved and there were legal penalties. The economic damage to the Gulf Coast communities and costs to other companies, insurance, and industry-wide impact for commercial fishing, and so on. The hardest impact was the engineering challenges in containing the spill. Once the spill was in the water, there was extreme deep water conditions. You couldn't just go down there and fix the well. They had to send these submersibles, which were the remote operations. You had to make a new drilling relief well to save the other one. But while you're doing all of this, you have to make sure that you're not going to make the leak worse by sending out one well and it's spewing through another one. Designing and deploying new contaminant systems, the formation of the methane hydrates, the high pressure and the flow rate due to the fail blowout preventer, it just made it one big headache. Engineering investigations and findings. The Macondo Well Investigation, Natural Commission, and the joint investigation by the U.S. Coast Guard and the Bureau of the Ocean Energy Management. There was also congressional hearings, the Department of Justice criminal and civil investigations. There was also other technical and academic investigations. If you look at this image over here on the left, this was the final report on the investigation of the Macondo well blowout back in March of 2011. Here are some of the results from engineering reports that were submitted and completed for the Deepwater Horizon. The lessons that were learned. They learned that reforms in the engineering and safety standards were needed. Engineering and technical reforms were needed, such as better designs, improvement to the blowout preventer, and barrier requirements with real-time data monitoring. There was also regulatory reforms that were needed. New rules and creations of the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement were needed. Safety culture and training reforms, along with technological innovations being advancements in subsea technologies. The importance of the systematic safety culture. They improved the crew training and competency. They had to have well control certifications now, human factors engineering, and they also had to experience emergency response training and drills. There was an industry-wide safety culture shift. This included safety and environmental management systems. They had to take risk assessment, hazard identification, and continuous improvement. They also came with this new phrase, stop working authority, meaning if they saw something and they didn't feel comfortable or thought it would cause something to happen, they were to stop working. Incident investigations and lessons were learned. Hopefully this will not happen again. In conclusion, the BP offshore drilling rig exploded and caught on fire caused by failure of well integrity barriers, faulty cement job, and misinterpreted pressure test and blowout preventer failure. It killed many people and caused long-lasting damage to the environment. It took multiple attempts to contain this spill, all leading to major reforms in the offshore drilling safety and regulations. Thank you all so much for watching.